Paying off debt feels pointless at first, like genuinely pointless. You make the payment, you check the balance, the number barely moves, and someone tells you to just stay consistent, just keep going. But nobody tells you why it feels like nothing is working, or when that finally changes. Here's what they're not telling you. There's an actual point where everything flips. A specific moment when debt stops feeling like a wall and starts feeling like a math problem you're already solving. And today I'm breaking down the exact framework that predicts when that happens. The 4-2-1 rule. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you think about your debt payoff timeline. My name is Susan. Let's start. Let me tell you about someone I know. We'll call her Diana. She's 31, makes $52,000 a year, and she's been throwing an extra $250 at her debt every single month for the past 2 years. She's not buying things she doesn't need. She's not ignoring her payments. She's doing what everyone told her to do. But when she added up her balances last month, she still owed $19,400. And her first thought was, is anything I'm doing actually working? 2 years of sacrifice, $6,000 in extra payments, and she still owes more than some people make in a year. This is the moment where most people give up. They assume they're too far in. They assume debt is just a permanent condition of their life. They put the payments back down to minimums and stop thinking about it. But here's the truth. Diana isn't doing anything wrong. She's just not at the breaking point yet. And understanding when that breaking point arrives, and why, is the difference between staying in debt for a decade and getting out in 3 years. Debt payoff doesn't work like subtraction. It works like a battle for momentum. Think about a boat stuck in thick mud. You push with everything you have. Nothing moves. You push more. Still nothing. But you're not failing. You're building pressure. And at some point, the mud releases and the boat starts to move faster than you ever expected. That's the debt payoff curve. The problem is that most financial advice tells you to keep pushing, but never tells you why it feels impossible at the start or when the mud finally lets go. That's exactly what the 4-2-1 rule fixes. The first number, 4. 4 months to build the base before you attack. This is the step most people skip. And skipping it is exactly why they end up right back where they started. Before you throw every available dollar at debt, you need 4 months of minimum foundation work. Here's what that means in practice. First, fully stop adding to the debt. No new charges on cards being paid down. No borrowing to cover shortfalls. The hole needs to stop getting deeper before you start climbing out. Second, get $1,000 into a separate savings account and leave it alone. Not your checking account. A separate account you don't see daily. This single step prevents the most common debt payoff failure, the emergency that wipes out 3 months of progress and lands you back on the credit card. Third, write down every balance, every interest rate, every minimum payment, all of it. On paper or in a spreadsheet, whatever, but physically visible, all in one place. Most people carry a vague sense of what they owe. Vague is the enemy. You need the actual number. Diana skipped this step the first time she tried to pay off debt. She started aggressively, had a $900 car repair in month 2, put it on the credit card she'd just paid down, and felt so demoralized she stopped for 8 months. The second time, she built the base first. When the car repair came, and it came again, she pulled from the $1,000 buffer. The debt payoff continued uninterrupted. 4 months to build the foundation. It feels slow. It is slow. But it's the reason everything that comes after actually works. The second number, 2. 2 accounts, 2 jobs, 2 completely different purposes. This is the structural insight that changes everything about how debt payoff feels on a daily basis. Most people manage debt from a single checking account. The paycheck arrives, the bills leave, the debt payment comes out. Whatever's left is ambiguous. Is it available to spend? Should it go to debt? Is it for next week's groceries? That ambiguity is expensive. When money has no clear identity, it disappears. The two-account structure removes the ambiguity entirely. Account 1 is your operating account. This is where your paycheck lands and your fixed bills come out. Rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, groceries, transportation. This account covers essential life costs and nothing else. Account 2 is your attack account. Every dollar you can free up beyond essentials goes here. It has one job: destroying debt, not covering emergencies. That's what the $1,000 buffer is for. Not saving for things, destroying debt. When your attack account receives money, it leaves within days, directly to the highest interest balance you're targeting. The account doesn't accumulate, it flows. Here's why this works psychologically. When your extra money sits in your checking account alongside your grocery budget, your brain doesn't see debt payment. It sees available funds. And available funds attract decisions. A dinner out here, a purchase there. It's not lack of discipline, it's architecture. One account has too many competing identities. Structured Sophia uses two accounts. She gets paid on the first. On the second, $400 automatically moves to her attack account. On the third, it hits her credit card. She never deliberates. She never decides. The system decides for her. Single account Sarah gets paid the same amount. She intends to put $400 toward debt this month. By the 20th, life has absorbed most of it. She pays $180 and feels like she failed, even though she didn't make any single dramatic mistake. Same income, same intention, completely different results. The only difference was two accounts instead of one. The third number, 1. One balance at a time, completely. Before you move to the next, this is the rule that causes the most arguments in personal finance. Some people insist you should attack the highest interest balance first, mathematically optimal. Others insist on the smallest balance first, psychologically effective. Both camps miss the actual point. The right answer is one at a time, all the way to 0, then the next one. Here's why the math doesn't matter as much as the momentum. When you split your extra payments across multiple balances, every account moves slowly. You're watching 4 or 5 numbers inch downward. Nothing reaches 0. Nothing gets eliminated. There's no concrete win. When you target one balance with everything you have, one account moves fast. It reaches 0. And the moment it does, something changes. Not just in your finances, but in your psychology. You get a proof of concept. You've done it once. You know you can do it again. And here's where the mathematics actually gets interesting. When a balance reaches 0, the minimum payment you were making on that account gets redirected to the next target. Your attack payment just got bigger without your income changing at all. Pay off a card with a $75 minimum payment. Now you have $75 more per month hitting the next target. Pay that one off. Its minimum joins the attack. The payment snowballs. This is not a metaphor. It's arithmetic. Let's look at Diana specifically. She has 4 balances, $1,400 on a store card at 26% interest, $4,200 on a credit card at 22%, $6,800 on a personal loan at 11%, and $7,000 in student loans at 5.8%. If she splits her extra $250 evenly across all 4, every balance crawls. Nothing reaches 0 for over a year. She feels like she's going nowhere. If she throws all $250 at the store card while paying minimums on everything else, it's gone in 5 months. Now her $250 plus the freed $45 minimum, $295, attacks the credit card. That clears in just over a year. Now $295 plus that freed minimum, $340, hits the personal loan. By month 30, 3 of 4 balances are at 0. She has 1 left, and she's throwing $380 at it. one at a time, all the way. Then the next one, the breaking point, when the 4-2-1 rule starts feeling like acceleration. Here's what Diana's 2-year experience actually lacked. Not discipline, but the framework for understanding where she was in the curve. The first 6 months of any serious debt payoff feel like the mud. You're paying, you're watching, and the total number barely moves because interest is consuming a significant portion of every payment. This phase is not failure. It is the price of admission. Between month 6 and month 12, something begins to shift. The interest charges on your target balance are shrinking. Because the balance is shrinking, more of every payment goes to principal. The number starts moving faster even though your payment didn't change. Between month 12 and month 18, the first balance falls. The minimum payment frees up. The attack gets larger. Now you start feeling it. By the end of year 2, where Diana is, a person following the 4-2-1 rule has typically eliminated their smallest 1 or 2 balances, freed up meaningful monthly cash flow, and reduced their total interest burden significantly. The debt isn't gone, but the momentum is unmistakable. By year 3, most people following this system have transformed their situation beyond recognition. Let's compare Diana's 2 paths. Path 1. Diana continues doing what she's been doing, splitting attention across balances, managing from one account, no clear attack sequence. At her current pace, she'll be debt-free in approximately 6.5 years. Total interest paid, around $8,400. Path 2. Diana implements the 4-2-1 rule today. One account structure built, attack account created, one at a time sequence established, debt-free in approximately 3 years and 2 months. Total interest paid, around $3,100. Same income, same debt, same payment amount, different framework, 2 fewer years of payments, $5,000 in interest she keeps instead of giving to lenders. That's not theory. That's the math of structure versus the math of hoping for the best. Here's the data that proves this framework works. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research found that people who focused on eliminating individual debts completely, what researchers called account closure, paid off debt significantly faster than people who spread payments across balances, even when the interest rate first strategy was mathematically superior. The reason: motivation is a resource. Every eliminated balance replenishes it. Every month where nothing reaches zero depletes it. A study by Northwestern University found that the single strongest predictor of debt payoff completion wasn't income, wasn't total debt amount, and wasn't interest rate. It was whether the person had eliminated at least one balance in the first 6 months. One win in the first 6 months predicted the entire outcome. That's what the 4-2-1 rule is designed to produce. And Federal Reserve data consistently shows that households with separate, dedicated savings accounts, not combined with checking, are significantly more likely to maintain emergency buffers and avoid reaccumulating debt during payoff. The physical separation of money isn't just organizational, it's protective. Why most people don't follow this, and why that's actually good news for you. Because it requires patience. Because the results aren't immediate. Because telling someone you're following a debt payoff framework isn't interesting at dinner parties. There's no app notification that says you've reached the breaking point. No moment where you suddenly feel like it's working. You just look up one day and realize the balance that used to make you sick to look at is 3 payments from 0. Our brains want the crash diet. Dramatic action, visible results immediately. The 4-2-1 rule is the opposite. It's setting up structures, committing to sequence, and trusting the math that you've done once and don't need to redo every month. The people who get out of debt permanently aren't the ones with the most discipline. They're the ones who built systems that made discipline irrelevant. Step by step. How to implement this today. Step 1, build the base. This month, stop all new debt accumulation on the accounts you're targeting. Open a separate savings account if you don't have one. Move $1,000 there and treat it as untouchable except for genuine emergencies. Write down every balance, rate, and minimum payment. Step 2. Set up the 2 accounts. Identify what your true monthly essentials cost: housing, utilities, food, transportation, insurance, minimum payments. That's what your operating account needs to fund. Everything above that is attack money. Open or designate a second account. Set up an automatic transfer the day after your paycheck arrives. Step 3. Choose your target. Pick one balance. If you want the psychological momentum of a quick win, choose the smallest balance. If you want to save the most money, choose the highest interest rate. Either is correct. The rule is that you pick one and you don't change your mind until it's 0. Step 4. Automate the attack. The moment money hits your attack account, it should leave automatically within 48 hours directly to your target balance. Remove the decision. Decisions invite hesitation. Automation invites none. Step 5. When the first balance hits 0, pause and write down the new payment amount you freed up. This is important. You need to register what just happened. Your attack just got bigger without your income changing. That is momentum. Then aim it at the next target immediately, before the freed payment gets absorbed into spending. This isn't about getting out of debt fast. It's about getting out of debt inevitably. Because when you follow this system, when you build the base, separate your accounts, target one balance at a time, debt payoff isn't a matter of if. It's a matter of when. The math guarantees it. The data supports it. The only variable is whether you implement the structure. And the structure takes one afternoon to set up. Diana is back on the 4-2-1 rule now. She's 6 months in. Her store card balance is gone. She's already had the first win. Her attack is now $295 a month, pointed at the credit card. She checks the balance less than she used to. Not because she's anxious, but because she trusts what's happening. She's not out yet, but she can see the end. And seeing the end changes everything. Stop waiting for a raise that will make it easier. Stop waiting for the right moment that never arrives. The framework is here. Set it up. Then let the math do what the math does. Turn structure into momentum. Turn momentum into freedom. If this gave you a clear action to take today, subscribe. Every week, I break down the systems and psychology behind debt, saving, and building a financial life that actually works. See you in the next one.